of year, that time in the 6 weeks, the end of the 6 weeks, you know you got a notebook check every 6 weeks. And a bunch of y'all, at first I said I was going to do it before break, and y'all said, please do it after so I can get mine caught up. I bet nobody did. Friday. So if you are face-to-face, you can get me to check your notebook before school, after school. You can bring it to me during your lunch, and I'll check it then. That's fine. Then you don't have to record the video. If you are virtual or you want to send me a video, that's fine. You record yourself flipping through the pages that it says I'm going to be checking in Canvas, and then you put the video in Canvas, okay? It is a quiz grade. So some of y'all that are failing with like a 50, 55 right now, if you get 100 on this notebook check, that's going to bring you up to passing. Some of you that got a D, it would bring you up to a C if you get a good notebook grade. Make sure you are ready with your notebooks. I'm going to give y'all a second to kind of get caught up if you're not. And then I'm also missing a page, so I'm going to update this. Your 4A test review work should be on page 35. And since we're starting a new 6 weeks, I'm also going to go to a new page in my table of contents in a minute. So I'm going to pause so you can get this caught up. We're starting unit 4B, and it's all on factoring polynomials. The good news, there's only 3 types of factoring we do in Math 1 with polynomials. In Math 2, there's 5. But the 3 are the same for Math 1. You just learn 2 new different ways in Math 2. And then in Math 3, you'll learn a 3rd new different way. Not adding and subtracting, it's all about factoring. So what we're doing today, page 36, we're going to talk about how you factor out a GCF. You've never done this. This is a brand new unit. Brand spanking new. Like never done this before in your life. All right, factoring out the GCF. The first part of this, what is that first word? Factoring. GCF is at the end for those of you that don't know how to read left to right. There we go. Factor. We got to make sure we know what a factor is. So do we remember what a factor is from our vocab? Not everyone at once. Y'all making me such a proud teacher right now. What's a factor? Thank you. Anything you multiply. If you had to look that up, I'm a little scared. Factors of 12. Give me some factors of 12. 6 times 2. Those are factors because it's 2 things you multiply to get to 12. What's another one? 3 times 4. Good. What's another one? 12 and 1. Very good. This whole unit is about finding factors, okay? So when you find a factor, you are finding the 2 things we multiply to get the number slash, this is where it's going to be different. We're not just going to do it with numbers. We're also going to do it with polynomials. It's not hard. So before we do steps, I feel like we should kind of go ahead and just do an example, if that's okay with everybody, maybe, so you can see where we're going. Okay. Yeah, so we're going to start with an example, okay? This is what we're kind of getting into today. So for this example, all I want you to do, and you don't have to actually write the words, we can just do it together. We're going to find the GCF between, and we're actually going to do 2 different examples. So let's do example 1. You don't have to write the words unless you want to. We're going to find the GCF between x squared and x to the 3rd. I knew some of y'all were already going to be looking at me like, why the freak are there x's? You do it the same way as numbers. So everybody look. What are the factors? I'm not asking for GCF, I just said factors. What are the factors of x squared? So listen, what two things can I multiply to get x squared? Okay, x is x times x. That's the factors of x squared. The letters are easier than the numbers. I'm not lying to you, they are easier. What things do you multiply to get x cubed? Curtis, pay attention. What things do you multiply to get x cubed? It's not a trick question. X times
x times x.
Exactly. Good job, you two. X times x times x. Those are the factors of x cubed. So hang on. I'm writing this down as my work. So you're shown work for these. When I'm asking you to find the GCF or factor out of GCF, I should see your little factor trees, okay? Because a lot of us, like doing this in our head, we're going to mess up somewhere. So when I ask you for the GCF, everybody listen, I want the greatest factors they have in common. What do they have in common? And then before somebody says an X, they got more than one in common. How many X's do they each have in common? Yeah, don't they each have two? This one has two right here. This one has two right here, and it'll just have a third one left over, right? So if you're given variables, does everybody agree these both have two in common? So the GCF would just be X what? Squared. Very good. It's a little weird, but it's not hard. If this one has two X's and this one has three, that means they at least both have two, right? Now let me ask you a question because I have a kid do this every year. Is the GCF for something like this ever going to be 3 X's, x cubed? Why not? It's not a trick question.
Only one of them have 3x.
Only one has 3. Greatest common factor means common, means they both have to have it. This one doesn't have 3 X's. So I never understand why kids put x cubed for that. It's x squared. They both have 2. It's whatever the biggest amount is that they have in common, okay? All right, let me give you another example. Let's see if we can try this one. And then we'll get into the factoring part. So same directions, find the GCF between, 32x and 64x squared. Whoever just said, Jesus, this is only the start of it. You better keep calling his name then, because it's about to get a little more challenging. It doesn't get harder, but you have to know this to be able to do the factoring part. If you can't draw me the factor trees and tell me the factors in the GCF, then you're not going to understand the factoring part. So everybody good there. Okay. First of all, I'm hoping you can look at the numbers 32 and 64 and make you some little factor trees and then figure out what the GCF is. So let's do the numbers first. Start giving me factors of 32. I like that. 8 times 4.
32 times 1.
Okay, 32 times 1. He said I'll give you the easy one. Oh, okay, Jay. That boy said 16 times 2. I think that's it. Yeah. Good. You were paying attention. Look at you. All right, 64. Factors of 64. Okay, 64 times 1. I heard 8 times 8. 16 times 4. I like that one. We're missing one more. 64 is an even number, so we should be able to split it in half, right? Yeah. What times 2? There you go, Jay. Okay. If you need help with that, doing that quickly, there's lots of tricks. I know you just need to come to tutoring or ask me after class. I can show you some tricks. So y'all look at those two trees. What's the biggest factor they have in common?
32.
Reading is hard. Very good, Jasmine. 32. Them babies said 16. 32 is bigger than 16. So listen, I'm going to help y'all out. Whenever you're looking for a GCF, start with the biggest factors first and work your way down, okay? I'm not being mean, but reading is hard. Y'all really, 3 of y'all talking about some 16. Maybe I thought it was it's okay. Just work on your reading. All right, 32. Everybody's good. All right. Now, that's part of the GCF. What's the other thing we haven't dealt with yet? The X's. How many X's do they both have in common? Nope, I knew it. I knew somebody was, no. Who, okay, listen, because y'all be shouting crazy stuff. Jay, you're the only one that's with me, baby. Extra credit. Pay attention. Did anybody say combine them? So I don't know why you're saying 3 or 4. How many X's does this one have? 1, thank you. How many X's does this one have? 2. So if you said 1 or 2, I kind of get that. It says X squared. But if you said 2, I also don't get it because I literally just told you not to make this mistake. How many does each one have? They only have 1 in common because this one only has 1. Do we see that? So the GCF for the variables, for the letters, is just going to be 1x, right? So what that means, everybody look at this, because we're about to add on to it. The GCF here is just going to be 32 with 1x. I'm going to pause and take questions. So now only thing we have to do is talk about the steps for factoring out the GCF. Y'all are doing really good so far. Hang with me. And this stuff, listen to me, this stuff takes practice. So if you're going to be a kid that goes home and doesn't do your work this week, go ahead and just let me know so I don't waste my time helping you in class. Because that's how I feel when y'all don't be trying it at home. You definitely need to do your work for this stuff. It's going to take practice. Skyla. I know, she's going to be mad if I throw something at her, though. She gone. All right. Steps for factoring out the GCF. So, y'all, there's only 3 steps. First step is to find the GCF. Yeah, I know. But I'm not a babysitter, so, I mean, I tried. I'm going to leave it be. Find the GCF, step 1. Tay, you got that down, babe? Your computer's supposed to be closed also. Find the GCF. Step 2, once you find the GCF, we're going to take it out of the parentheses. Did everybody hear me say that? You're going to take it out because we are factoring it out. So don't write this down. I'm just going to show you to make sure y'all remember me doing this before break. Do you guys remember when we did our vocab? I'm just making sure everybody's paying attention. I don't see all eyeballs besides Sleepy McSleeperson over here. Do y'all remember before break? Tay, you with me, babe? You're going to want to see this, boo. Before break, I had y'all put stuff in factored form. And so we talked about how that would just be like 4 times 3 or 6 times 2. But do y'all remember I wrote it like this with parentheses? That's all we're doing today. You're going to take out the GCF and whatever will be left goes in the parentheses. Okay? That's it. So the hardest part is finding the GCF. But once you find it, you literally just take it out. So it's what? It's not a whole lot of math. No, finding the GCF is where the math is at. So you're going to take out the GCF and write it in front of the parentheses to show multiplying This is your longest step too. I know it's a lot. I tried to shorten it as much as I could. So you're going to take out the GCF and write it in front of parentheses to show the multiplying of factors. Curtis, you need me to slide it up, babe? Is that good? Uh-huh. Jay, you gonna like this stuff. Because you were good at the box method and everything, so you should be good with this. They go together. All right, so let me ask y'all a question while you're finishing writing. Is that okay? Can we multitask? Okay, let me ask y'all a question. If I just told you the GCF of two numbers was 4, and I wanted to figure out what would be left if the original number was 12, how would you figure out what would go in the parentheses? Maybe I should reword that. Or maybe y'all weren't listening. It's one of the two. So I'm going to say it the same way, and then if you're still staring at me like I'm speaking Spanish, I may speak Spanish, and then I'll reword it. If I told you the GCF of 12 and some other number, the other number don't even matter. I told you the GCF was 4, so don't even worry about the 6. And then I wrote a parenthesis. How would you figure out what was left over from the 12 once we took out the 4? Can you say that louder for the people over here? Divide. When you write parentheses, doesn't that mean you're multiplying? So if you're working backwards to figure out what would be in the parentheses, what's backwards for multiplying? Divide. So your third step to figure out what is left in the parentheses is just to divide it by the GCF. And that'll tell you what the other factor in parentheses is. That's all we're doing today, okay? So third step, it's really not bad. It's just brand new, so I have to take a lot of time doing the steps. So you're going to find the factor in the parentheses by dividing the GCF. That's your notes. We're going to do 3 or 4 examples, however many y'all say you're good with, because I don't want anybody to feel like they're not okay. So I'm going to give y'all a second to finish copying. It says factor it out. So we're not just finding it, we're going to actually factor. So we're doing our 3 steps we just wrote down, okay? So first example, example 3, I want you to factor out the GCF from this. 25x squared plus 35x. So we're factoring out the GCF. So y'all, I'm not going to be able to keep flipping back my pages. So I need y'all to look at your steps, because a lot of y'all are still on the first page. What's step 1? Good. Find the GCF. So hopefully, I got my fingers crossed saying all the prayers. I'm not being sarcastic. I'm being dead serious. I'm really hoping you can look at 25 and 35 and tell me the GCF would be 5. Baby, 10 don't go into 25 or 35. That'd be a decimal. Y'all agree it's 5, right? That's actually the only thing they have in common, because the only factors of 25 is 25 and 1 and 5 times 5, right? Only factors of 35 is 35 and 1 and then 5 times 7. Does everybody agree? Okay, so check it out. I'm going to show you 2 ways to do this, but you got to do it one of these ways. So I'm actually going to write this twice. I just want you to watch, and you can pick the way that works best for you. Does that make sense? I will give you a chance to copy at the end. I want everybody to watch. First way you can do these, right, is just by looking at it, but there is some work I'm going to need to see. So everybody look, what did y'all just tell me the GCF was? 5. Now, before somebody says x squared, it makes me cry up here. How many x's do they have in common? 1. This one has 1, this one has 2. That means they both at least have 1, right? So that means you can also take out an x. Does everybody agree the GCF is 5x? Don't write, just watch. I'm going to show you two different ways. That's step 1. Find the GCF. There it is, 5x. Hello. What's step 2 say? Write it where? Outside of parentheses. So look, we know we're going to be doing 5x times something because this is called factoring. Again, don't write. You should just be watching. This is called factoring, which means we're going to be multiplying two things, right? Does everybody agree? Okay, step 3. What do we do to find what's left inside? Divide the what? So everybody look, we're taking, watch, just watch, don't write. We're taking the 5x away from both of these. We're dividing it out from both of these. That's why it's on the outside. So everybody watch. What's 25 divided by 5? Good. How many x's are left once you divide these? 2 divided by 1? There's only 1 x left, right? If there's 2 up here and then you take out 1, that means there's 1 left. What's 35 divided by 5? And it's positive. Do you have any x's left? This is your answer. You're not combining nothing. You're splitting it up. When you factor something, you're finding the two things you would multiply to get the original.
Okay, praise God.
All we're doing, now look, don't write it down because I think some of you might like this other way better. That's the first way. Some of y'all like, dang. If you like that way, you can do it that way. That's the way I do it because I can look at it and see the GCF. Hang on one second, baby. If you don't like that way and you like the trees that we were doing earlier, that's fine. Check it out. 5 times 5. What's x squared break down into? 2 x's. Very good. What does 35 break down into? Dang, not everybody at once. Thank you. 5 times 7. Oh, no, baby. And then there's just 1 x with this one, right? Okay, so look. What do they have in common? A 5 and a what? And an x. Everybody look, this is your other way to do it. You'll take the 5x out. And if you did your trees correctly, what's left inside is already up there. So everybody look, there's a 5 and an x, right? Then a plus sign. And what would be in the back? A 7. You can do the first way or the second. So I'm going to pause while you copy and you can ask me questions. On the final exam, listen to me. Y'all think these people that make the exam are nice. They are not. They're old retired math teachers and they're angry old people. So listen, listen, do you think they're going to be nice enough to put the GCF questions on the calculator active? No, you gotta know how to find it. My boy said that's why you got a calculator. All right, let's try another one. So same thing, we're gonna factor out the GCF. I'm gonna step it up just a tiny bit. No one get upset, it'll be okay. It ain't that bad. You stay saying the Lord's name in vain. It ain't that bad. So while you're writing, I'm going to be talking because I'm going to have people watching this later, I hope. Especially my baby that just skirted out. When you are given more than one variable, nothing changes. You just going to look at how many x's they have in common. And then you're going to have to look at how many y's in common. That's it. So all y'all that are freaking out, you do it the exact same way. Okay? Exact same way. Is everybody okay? Yeah? You'll be okay, I think, once we do 2 more. What's up, babe? Be careful. Listen, it's okay. I knew most of you probably were thinking it was 6. It is 12. Very good. So, no, you're good. Listen, if you got 6, I want to show you why it wouldn't be 6. So I want everybody to watch. You don't have to write this, just watch. If you put 6, do y'all agree that would be 6 times 6? And then this would be 6 times what? 8. So watch. Chandler, you're still getting extra credit, babe, because you got the X's part right. So everybody look. When you take out the 6's they have in common, what would be left was a 6 and an 8, right? This is how you know you didn't pull out the GCF. I hope we're all listening because you can check yourself. 6 and 8 still have something in common, a 2. That means if they still have something in common, that means you didn't pull out the biggest thing. Does that make sense? So you really should have pulled out 6 times 2, which is, and let's check it. So I'm going to get rid of these. 12 times what gives me 36? 12 times 3. Good. What about 48? 12 times what? Very good, Tay. Extra credit. And you got mad at me earlier for picking on you. Yeah, I said, and you got mad at me earlier for picking on you. 12 times 3, 12 times 4. Y'all good? Yes. I'm doing the factor tree way first, if you like that way, okay? Now I'm going to list out my X's. How many X's are in the first one? 3. Oh, who said 2? Okay, it says cubed. 3. Listen, how many Y's are in this first one? 2. I'm going to do the same thing over here. How many X's? 2. Good, Gwyneth. How many Y's, Gwyneth? Just 1. So I want you guys to all look. What are we taking out? What is in common? The 12 for sure. So I'm taking out a 12. How many X's? In common. Good. 2. Does everybody agree they each have 2? Okay, so I'm pulling out X squared. Oh, and Curtis said in 1Y. Curtis, you right, baby. And we can take out a Y. So everybody look. If you're doing the factor tree way and you've listed everything out like this, you don't technically have to divide because whatever's going to be left is already written for you. Okay? So everybody look, how many X's are left? 1 X and 1 Y in the first one, right? With a what? So this would be 3XY. There's a plus sign. What's left in the back one? That's it, just a 4. So this would be your factors. So that means, while you're writing, you're just doing 12x squared y times 3xy plus 4. Question. I am going to do it the other way. I like to show y'all both ways. You know I'll do it both ways. Now the last one, I'll probably only do one way. So the other way, I'm going to do it below it because I don't think I have a whole lot of room. So my people that like the other way, y'all just watch. 48x squared y. Is anybody still writing or am I good to keep going? Okay, the other way, you find the GCF. So y'all told me it was 12, right? Between 36 and 48, it's 12. How many x's do they have in common? 2. So everybody look, you take out x squared. How many y's do they have in common? 1. So you take out 1y. What do we do to find what's left? You do what? Divide it. Very good. So watch. 12x squared y. 12x squared y. And you're just going to divide J to figure out what's left, baby. It's not bad. You can do whichever way makes sense to you. I don't care which way. That's why I'm showing you both. But I should see some work. I should either see where you divided or I should see your little trees. You can't just put an answer. I ain't going to give you credit. So Jay, what's 36 divided by 12? 3. If I had 3 x's and I take out 2, how many are left? Oh, let me ask again. Y'all ain't listening. If I have 3 and I take out 2, that means how many are left? Y'all said 2. That's how I knew you weren't listening. If I had 2 and I take 1 out, how many are left? 1y. And then let's look. What's 48 divided by 12? 4. Now look at your letters in this second term. I had 2 x's. I took them both out, so there's none left. I had a y, but I also took it out. So we got the same thing. You've got 2 ways to do it. Do we want to try the next one? Yeah. I think you can do it. Let's try it. You guys try this one. You know I'm going to go over it, so don't go anywhere. And I think if we're good with this one, we'll go ahead and stop after this, and I'll give you homework time. I'm also going to shorten your homework because I'm nice. You're welcome. Let's do. Let's do some different letters too. Yep, I was going to use A's. How'd you know? She said I'm a Gemini. Those are B's, not sixes. Since y'all always try to play me. So while you're writing before I pause, what is different about this one? There are some negatives in there. That's okay though. Only one of the negatives really matters. What else is different? There's one other thing that's different. Okay, there's 3 terms. What did you say? I don't know what that was. A trinomial is what Chandler said, I think. Or Tay, somebody said it. It's a trinomial. So listen, you do it the same way. Just instead of finding the GCF of 2 numbers, now there's 3. So you just got to check what's the GCF between 18, 9, and 6. Don't blurt it out. 18, 9, and 6. That should be easy. Don't say it outside.
Oh.
And then you're just looking at what all 3 have in common in terms of the letters. That's it. What, baby? I want you to try it first. You should at least be able to like tell me what you would take out or draw your tree. So I'm going to be walking around and then we will do it together. Yep. But you try it first, try them, because they seem to react well to that. If I ask you to try a problem and instead you're going to be socializing and stuff like that, are you helping yourself? No. You also, listen, you ain't wasting my time. I don't have to do the homework. I could do it with my eyes closed. You could just read it to me and I could tell you the answers. You're the one that's got to do it and pass the exam. So when I give you time in class to try something, it's so you can ask me questions, okay? I'm going to go over it. I got some people getting it right. I got some people getting it half right. And I got some people I'm not quite sure what you got, to be honest. Yeah, I keep it real with y'all. I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings, but like, y'all got to use your time wisely. What did you guys get for the GCF between 18, 9, and 6? 3. I 100% agree it's 3. The biggest factor they all have in common is 3. And I think everybody got that far. Now, this is the part we have to talk about. Do you guys see how out front it's negative? When you have a negative out front, I hope we're all listening. Curtis, pay attention. Pay attention. When you have a negative out front, that means the GCF is negative. Let me give you an example. If I said, what's the greatest common factor between negative 12 and 24? It's negative 12. Because you have to take out the negative if it's out front. Just like the corny example I use, if your leader or your team captain is negative, do you want them as your leader or team captain? Absolutely not. Get them out of there. Does that make sense? You got a negative out front, take it out. So I think most of you had even -3 because y'all asked me about it, which is great. This is where we messed up. So I need you listening closely here. How many A's do they all 3 have in common? Only 2. It ain't 4, it ain't 3, it ain't 1. This one has 4. So if you listed them out, I'm going to do that for some of y'all. This one has 3. This one has 2. That means you can take out 2 from each of them, right? Okay, so that's A squared. And this is the last part y'all messed up. Does every term have a B? Then why are you taking it out? It's called greatest what factor? Common. If they don't all have it, then it's not in common. You can't take it out. So should you be taking out any B's? No. That's the hardest part because y'all, if you can do that, how do you find what's left? Divide. So I think some of you need to watch this part again because I think this is where we were messing up. So Shia, this is why I told you, baby, yours was half right because you were good there. So now everybody look. What is -18 divided by -3? 6. And it's positive. If you have 4 A's and you take out 2, how many A's are left? 2, good job. How many B's are left? Because I didn't take any of them out. 3, you didn't take them out. They're still in there. Now what's positive 9 divided by negative 3? Negative 3, good job, Terrence. That boy getting all the extra credit. I had 3 A's. I took 2 out. How many A's are left? Very good, 1 A left. How many B's are left? The one you started with. I didn't take any B's out. I didn't mess with the B's, so you just bring them on down. Curtis, you okay? You got quiet.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Negative 6 divided by negative 3. Okay, Shania. Good job, girl. And then I had 2 A's, but look, we took the 2 A's out, so all that's left is that positive 2. This should have been your answer right here. If you got that, you are ready for your homework. So listen to me before I stop the Zoom. It is now your time. You have 14 minutes. You can either do your vocab quiz now, or you can start your classwork homework. I'm going to be nice and go shorten your classwork homework. You're welcome. So give me a second to shorten it. And then you guys either do your quiz now or do your homework now. They are both due at midnight though, okay?